Room 237 is a JumperScape audio production. You walk a path few are willing to take, stranger. You've stumbled into Room 237.
Hello and welcome to Room 237. It is day 2 of season 2.
Season 2.
I don't know why I called it day 2 and not episode 2, but here we are. As you can see, we've grown temporarily. I am James.
I am Ashton.
And who are you?
I am Shane.
That's Shane.
It is me.
Live and in
I'm
color.
Here. I'm in color, living color.
You may recognize him from the library, and hey, if you listen to the library and you're not a patron, this is you seeing him for the first time. Isn't that crazy?
Yay!
Oh, I guess that is.
Yeah, I just thought of that right now.
Yeah, so did I. That didn't even occur to me. Okay, cool.
But what are we doing today?
So today we watched Smile. The movie came out in 2022, starring Sosie Bacon, who I found out is in fact the daughter of Kevin Bacon, Jesse T. Usher, Kyle Gallagher,
Gallagher.
Gallner, maybe? There's no other G. Kate and Caitlin Stacy, which she wasn't on the top of the list, but she's the Smile girl, so I thought she should definitely be mentioned. So yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Smile.
So this was quite the movie.
Yeah, I
was pleasantly surprised.
I was pleasantly surprised because all I heard was terrible things about this movie.
I told you.
You see, like, when this movie came out, and the trailers were like in theaters, for me, all I could think about was Truth or Dare. Does anyone remember that movie?
I never watched it, but I know what it is.
Is that the one where they get like trapped in a house and like they have to complete their dare or tell a truth?
No, that's the other Truth or Dare.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
It does the same thing because it's got what's his name from Teen Wolf in it, and the girl from Pretty Little Liars. Yeah, but their smiles are CG.
Yes, they have CG smiles.
Smiles. That's the dumbest thing ever.
It's in that movie. It's like basically a demonic entity of Truth or Dare, and when
it doesn't want you to win the game.
The dares get like progressively worse, and the truths get like really bad. Yeah, but when the entity does its thing, it has a goofy CG smile. So my brain kind of initially
it does seem like that.
Was like, huh. But the thing is, the smiles in this movie are real.
They're all natural.
They're not CG.
Correct.
So that's already a plus.
You can definitely tell because some people are way better at it than others.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's only one that was a little funky, but I think the build up to it made it better.
The therapist.
Yeah, the therapist.
Yeah.
But this movie is much more about
it's trauma.
Mental health. Trauma.
Yeah, it's about spreading trauma.
And it's done through the guise of this smile demon. And I think that's why like it didn't catch me to even check it out when it was like originally in theaters, because like I just saw the trailers and my brain went, smile equals scary. Probably a lot of Blumhouse-y kind of jump scares. It's not a Blumhouse movie,
it's
but
not, thank God. If it was a Blumhouse movie, it probably wouldn't have been as good.
The trailers gave me that vibe.
Right. It feels like a cheap horror movie when you see the trailers. That's what I thought too, is it was gonna just be like, ooh, scary smiles.
They give a lot away during the like not too much plot, but they just give a decent
lot
bit
of the
away.
Scares.
Yeah.
And I think that if they had more plot focus in the trailers, I would have been more hooked.
Well, you know, so this wasn't even supposed to go to theaters. This movie was supposed to be a streaming only release and was given a quote unquote small budget by Paramount of $17 million.
Which that is a small budget
for something like that. I guess that is
for Paramount,
small.
probably.
That is small,
right?
Technically,
but when I'm thinking, because we had this conversation back when we were doing the X trilogy, and when we were doing Chucky month, like a small budget. It's so weird because all of the X movies were made with like $1 million, $2 million budgets.
Mm-hmm.
And those look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always so weird to hear like a small budget of $17 million. What do they spend their money on that X can look like this and another movie can look like crap and it has more than double the budget of one of the other movie?
I feel like it usually comes down to rewrites, reshoots, and overinflating the effects budget. Is usually, I think, are like the primary factors, because when a movie, and this movie is not really CGI reliant, so this is not really about this movie when I say this, but a lot of movies want all their CGI done super fast, and it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So they crunch time a bunch, and they don't give artists like a proper amount of time, and like therefore more money gets sunk into like the budget for effects.
And it could just be more
for
money.
Worse
just
effects.
it might just mean more money just equals more spending.
Yeah, pretty much. But because that's the thing, 17 million is still
relatively
low budget.
Yeah.
For a horror movie, that's actually pretty standard. That's a pretty standard horror movie budget, though.
Kind of what I thought. But
most horror films, that's kind of the appeal for.
Unless they go absolutely bonkers with CGI.
Yeah, like that's kind of the appeal for
unless
like
it's
production,
a blockbuster horror.
For producers to make them is the overhead, because they're usually really cheap to make and they usually make a lot of money.
Right. No, I get it.
And I don't think this was by any means like schlock, because it's not. It's actually it actually has something to say, which is not what I was like
expecting whatsoever. No.
So that was a pleasant surprise.
Hopefully you guys will trust me going forward on my movie taste. They doubted me. James did.
I did doubt you. I did completely
just not out loud.
I just would give you the look. Like,
no, I'm telling you. Like I was being so serious. I don't know what you were doing in 2022 that you weren't in the theater with us when we saw it, but you were. I know you weren't there, and I know like.
I just think I couldn't make it.
I think you might have been working or something like that, but still, it's just like, even you're usually like one to like jump on, even if you have your doubts about a horror. You're like, yeah, sure, I'll go see it because horror movie, like it would give me something to think about and talk about. But yeah, no, in the theater experience was really, really good. I don't think we saw it opening night, but it was like that week. We were very, very close to opening night, and the theater reactions to some of the scares and the atmosphere. And the theater, watching in the theater did it so much justice, a lot of justice with the atmosphere.
Yeah, like, it just was surprising. There was a very well-developed, like, tone about the movie. And I think, honestly, part of that is the soundtrack. Because the soundtrack for this movie
is a banger.
Is absolutely amazing.
It's used wonderfully.
Cristobal Tupa Devere. That's his name. That's who did it.
I always feel bad that you get the hard to pronounce names.
I did my best. So
that's another thing. We saw it in the big theater.
Ooh,
at Tinseltown. So
they did it in the big theater.
Oh yeah.
So you must have saw it later in the release, probably.
I don't think.
No, earlier probably.
Yeah, it was in the big. Usually, as it goes on, they go out of the bigger theaters for a newer movie.
Right, but because Paramount like didn't expect it really to do well, and expected it to be like a streaming only thing, like that's why.
I mean, maybe
it basically it started getting popular, and then it started moving to bigger theaters, and like it had more showings and all the stuff.
My memory of it is the marketing campaign was really well done.
Marketing
So
was done
I think
so well.
Probably a couple
just telling
weeks
you
from
what I
release,
read.
They were probably getting bigger theaters because there was a like higher demand to see
Mhm.
it.
And they probably didn't have to spend much on that
'Cause
marketing.
They would have people
No,
literally
it was-
standing in the background of MLB games, like behind the home plate, just smiling at the camera.
They had
Mhm.
like they'd always have like a bright neon shirt, so you'd be able to spot them, and their shirt would just say "smile," and they just look right at the camera and just literally smile at the camera for the entire game. And I want to know how much money those people were paid to do that, because why wasn't I offered a job to do
Probably-
You know
that?
how much that would
Probably
hurt
not
your
that
face?
much.
Probably not, but still.
Because that would hurt your face. Could you imagine just a whole baseball game?
Mhm.
You get stuck like that.
And honestly, that marketing is part of the reason I felt the way I did about the movie before it came out.
Because it was
I was like,
gimmicky.
and that's the thing. Anytime I fall for gimmicky marketing, I get let down. Long legs,
I was gonna ask about. I was gonna say what other marketing was like that lets you down.
long legs.
I have not seen Long Legs. Did you not like Long Legs?
I didn't not like it, but you know when
My older brother has nothing but incredible things to say about that movie, but I trust your input more.
it's not bad. It's actually quite good, but when it's on TikTok, I'm just getting paid promotion that's not shown to be paid promotion from like just people just going, you know, like this is the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. This is the most intense film of all time. Like just all over. And it's not trailers. It's not trailers. It's
Right.
people that are part of the marketing campaign for that movie
Right.
before it ever came out.
You see, I look at
And-
that in somewhat of a different light. Like I mean, obviously, people who were like working on the movie, part of the marketing, are like, "Oh my god, the movie's so good, it's so scary." Like I was genuinely terrified. Just thought I appreciated the effort, if that makes sense. I can't remember the last time like I've seen, you know, like a horror movie like advertised in the way that they did. Even though it was simple, I thought it was relatively creative, and I don't remember the last time like a franchise has made that kind of like push in terms of marketing. The only thing I could really think of, if you remember, when The Conjuring first came out and you'd go to the theaters and it would like there would be like signs all over the theater saying like, warning, enter at your own risk, people have experienced paranormal activity watching this movie. If you experience this, please contact help at blah. And it had like a phone number for like a priest or like so like just it was super cool, and it made me like super scared to actually go see The Conjuring.
It's a weird line for me to roll because I like marketing like that. I think it's cool. I just think oftentimes
You're let down when
I'm
you see
let
it.
down by the
Mhm.
movie.
What I want to do more research on, something that I found as well in this movie is there's a barcode in one of the scenes, and if you scan the barcode, it'll lead you to a location
Ugh.
with like a geocache. So like this marketing just kept continuing.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
And I don't know if anyone did, because my guess is it's like a ARG.
Yeah.
So I wonder if anyone did it.
I'm
Oh,
sure
I'm
someone
sure.
did it.
Somebody had to.
If it's
So I have to
known-
do it.
If it's known, like in the trivia, someone did it.
Yeah.
Like
So
that's-
I gotta find out if someone did the ARG for Smile. But shall we get into it?
we shall get into it. How many? I have nothing else to think of besides smiles out of 10.
I got one. How many large burning women out of 10 do you give this movie?
I don't want to go first.
Okay. I give it like a 7.5 large burning women out of 10.
Now I wish I went first because I was also going to say 7.5. He's mad at us.
I was gonna go anywhere between 7 to 8. It is and to most modern horror movies disappoint me, which sucks because horror is my favorite genre. But I just for the sole fact that like at the time there wasn't, or even now there still isn't much coming out that's been like good in the modern era. I'm gonna go. I might even give it an 8.5. I might give it an 8.5. I'll be that guy.
You just need to watch Mike Flanagan movies.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I think you'd enjoy Mike Flanagan
I want to
movies.
see Doctor
I
Sleep.
mean, you loved Hill House. He did that.
Yeah,
So-
I know. I need to see Doctor Sleep. That's like at the top of my that and Alien Romulus are at the top.
You've
of my,
seen The Shining, right?
Yeah,
Okay, just make sure.
yeah. I have.
That would be
That'd be
important.
criminal if I did not see The Shining.
All right,
we
so-
just hop in.
Yeah. So we start off basically with our main character, Rose, doing her job at the psych ward. She's checking doing like an interview almost. I guess it's not really like a session. It's more like the entrance interview to the psych ward.
Yeah.
With a patient in the weirdest room ever. Did you notice this?
Yeah.
It's a waiting room that they just put 2 chairs in.
I've noticed a lot of the rooms in this movie are
funky. They're weird. It literally even has like a little and it changes. I saw that too as well. Like in the background of one of them, it has waiting room chairs and a little table with a pamphlet on it. And then in another shot, it has a whole basically kitchen table.
Huh.
Yeah, it's weird. But guy's just having a manic episode. It looks like she what's the right word? Like when they take patient in.
Oh,
admitted?
Yes, it looks like she admits him. And
his name's Carl.
His name's Carl.
And he was tweaking out.
Yeah, he kept repeating.
He kept mumbling about they're dead. She's gonna die. She's dead.
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
Nothing doesn't matter. Blah blah blah. Like he just kept repeating the same thing.
Doesn't matter. We're all gonna die.
Yep, something like that.
Just freaking out.
Been there, Carl.
But
Been there.
Then we get to kind of see a little tour of the psych ward, which is in fact Baker Miller pink, which is not the color that a psych ward should be.
Explain what that means to the audience.
So Baker Miller pink, if I'm remembering correctly, I do recall that it was supposed to make people calmer or something. Maybe. I don't remember. Actually, scratch that. Let's not take my word at anything.
Okay.
But they put it in a prison and it literally made prisoners go insane. This color pink.
So it was intended to be calming color.
I think.
But it ended up being.
I'm not sure though, so let's just not take my word at that.
Don't cite me.
Don't quote him on that.
In fact, please do not use me for your paper on Baker Miller pink. But
if you just happen to be writing one and listening to this,
we're gonna
name this episode "Smile." Baker Miller Pink is going to be the subtitle.
But
I think it actually will be now. Now I've spoken into existence. Let me make sure I write that down.
But yeah, and she gets kind of reprimanded by her boss for sending too many people to residency to get medically taken care of. It's really weird. And then we see from a wide angle where we're seeing the whole hospital, we see an ambulance pull up and a lady get taken out of the ambulance and she's freaking
out.
She's going, wah. And that's where we get our
lore dump. Because this is Laura.
Lore from Laura.
We got lore from Laura.
As James put in his notes.
Played by Caitlin Stacy. That's what I meant when I said the smile girl.
I was like, yeah, the smile girl. I was like, there's a lot of people who smile in this movie.
Well, right,
Several
but when you
women
think
smile in this movie.
when you think of smile, you think of the girl on the poster and who was in all the ads. That was Caitlin Stacy.
Oh. I thought of the horrors beyond my comprehension at the end.
Okay.
But she's not doing so hot. So she tries to explain what's going on, why she's feeling away.
Mm-hmm.
And that is apparently she's seeing people she knows, and they have the worst smile that you could ever see, like a smile that isn't happy.
Yeah,
it's bad. Which
it's a very unsettling smile.
Yes,
very unsettling.
Hard to do words justice, I guess.
Yeah.
But she is not being believed, unfortunately, and this sends her into a little bit of a tizzy. But then her demeanor changes even further because she starts looking behind. Oh man,
Rose, yeah.
I'm bad with names. I'm good at being bad with names. And starts just basically freaking the hell out. And that is as Rose goes to call for backup, essentially, like, can we sedate this woman? The screaming stops and Rose turns around and Laura just has a smile on her face. And she just starts up at her cheek and goes all cheek to cheek, slits her own throat with a broken vase.
When she was freaking out, she knocked the vase off a table and she used the shards to kill herself right in front of Rose.
So, way to start the movie. You know?
that was very. They didn't waste any time. That was my main thing with the movie. It's a little under 2 hours, so I thought they were. I thought like they were going to really, really take their time. And I don't want to say it was rushed either, but they did not waste any time getting right into it.
No, the pacing is actually really good.
It was really good. It was really good. I didn't think it was too long or like way too fast.
Yeah, and we see Laura like lying in the pool of her own blood, and she still has the smile on her face. And then that's when it cuts to the title card.
Yeah.
And fun
weird
fact,
title card.
Title card was 13 minutes into the movie.
Which that's also a reason that it's weird. Because that's a long time.
It's a long time, and specifically 13.
Oh yeah,
the number?
The bad number.
The bad number?
That's the unlucky number.
Yeah, it was probably done on purpose, maybe.
Maybe.
Or it was close enough, and then when they were editing, they were like, make this happen at 13 minutes.
like 13 exactly?
Exaggerate
sure.
Exaggerate this opening scene for 27 more seconds so we can hit the exact 13-minute mark.
Right.
So, obviously, you're going to need to talk to some detectives after this because they need to know what happened and all that such.
Yikes.
And we meet two guys. One of them we never see again.
Yikes.
There's Joel and the other one.
Yikes.
Did we catch his name?
No.
We're going to call him Yikes.
We're going to call him Mr. Yikes.
Because that's all he has. That's all the input she has.
The most laid-back detective I've ever seen in a film.
He's just questioning her, and then she tells him what happens, and he just goes, yikes.
Yeah, he just kind of brushes it off. What did he call her? Or what did he say about her where Rose was like,
oh, that she was a nutcase?
Was it a nutcase?
Head case.
It was a
head case.
She's like, excuse me, head case? And he's just like, yep,
Well,
that's what I said. And then Joel is actually
I meant it.
Joel is like, we're just trying to actually get to we need, answers so we can contact her family and like let them know what exactly happened or what her motives were, if she was showing any like signs of mental illness, so we can like classify it that way.
Yeah. But after this, Rose just,
Goes home.
Goes home.
As one does after being traumatized.
She starts to get out some wine. She really struggles with the cork, which is so relatable. So relatable. And then we found out, she's only pouring like a half ounce of wine into her glass every time she drinks,
and she was like putting maybe a shot's worth.
Probably not even. I'm telling you, that was a half ounce.
It was lit. I'm like, at that point, I don't know. We paid too much attention to it. I think. I don't think we were meant to pay that much attention. to it.
Maybe she likes to do an ounce at a time so she can do the circle thing.
Like the legs on the wine.
But if she already like bought the wine, she already knows it tastes good. She don't have to do the tasting stuff.
We've already confirmed that Rose is a little bit of a head case. So I mean, we shouldn't question what she does with her wine.
But
but this is like right after, like, so she's just starting. So yeah, she's probably a little
just starting.
Yeah, she's probably a little nerve-wracked, but I don't know if she's at the.
I mean, if my patient just killed herself in front of me, I would have just taken the bottle of wine and drank straight out of it.
Exactly.
Like that's why we found it odd, because she just like, we're like, oh, Yep, drink the whole bottle of wine.
You have to start sipping out the bottle.
It's all right.
I so thought the setup was going to be she had the glass, grabbed the wine, and then just grabbed the whole bottle and then put the glass down. That's not what happened.
I think we're just used to alcoholic main characters.
Yeah, a lot of Stephen King recently.
Yeah, a lot of too much Stephen King. Cheyenne is like nodding her head over there, like, yeah.
She's heard how many times we've said the word alcoholic in the last like 4 weeks.
What have you guys watched over the last 4 weeks?
Stephen King.
Just Stephen King? Has it just been? I know you guys
3 weeks in a row with Stephen King. Yeah.
You watched Dr. Sleep.
The Shining and Creepshow.
Fair enough.
But after she like gets this glass of wine, not even this half ounce of wine, she like has that like, you know, when you feel like someone's looking at you,
like kind of like looking over her shoulder.
So
like,
she starts kind of just like glancing around the whole kitchen that she is in currently and hasn't turned the lights on for. Weird. Turn your lights on. She lives in this expensive looking modern architecture house. I'm sure you can afford your electricity bill. Turn your lights on. Weirdo.
I think it's supposed to be symbolic.
Okay. I always turn the lights on when I go to the kitchen.
You know, when you're depressed,
if it's dark, if
everything feels darker.
No, I'll kick the lights on, like no matter what, especially if it's not, especially something like that just happened. My light, there is not
lights are on.
Exactly, there is not a light in my house that is off after that.
Lights are on after something freaky happens.
Especially living like kind of in a secluded area in the woods.
Lights are on.
Absolutely.
I forgot we were talking about the character. I was like, you don't live in the woods.
We're talking about Rose. We're talking about Rose.
But she scans the room and then it's not even like a jump scare, really. It's literally like she scans over and you see Laura standing there doing the look, and it's creepy.
It's good.
It gives you the crawlies.
And I'll say this is plus points because I like scares like these. There's I'll just say a good amount of jump scares in this movie. They're all real. Not many like cheap fake ones. I think you have one with someone knocking on the window when they were, you know.
I barely want to call that one a jump scare. I mean, it is, but like that one didn't get me in the theaters.
He's talking about the just knocking on the window.
Yeah, when she was later in the movie, like when she's at the hospital taking a nap. Yeah, that one did not get me.
But it still counts.
I guess if to me, it just didn't even seem like it was intentional, but I guess, yeah.
That was totally intentional.
Intentional.
I guess. I just didn't get me at all.
They're all like, that's the thing. They're all like real. They're all like actual scares. So like it gets a pass for that. But at the same time, I feel like the movie's at its strongest with scenes like this one.
Yeah.
Where cause I don't know. I like just vaguely seeing something dark in the corner.
So you guys know how we talk so we're like, we don't like Blumhouse jump scare movies. This is the example of a kind of movie you can use jump scares in effectively. Like this is if you want a case study on effective use of jump scares, I would give you this movie, honestly. It's very effective. They're not cheap. It's not just to get a rise out of you, it's to further engage the plot, I guess. It's to further like
it builds atmosphere.
Yes,
tension.
Exactly. It's
tension, atmosphere,
tension in this movie
mood.
Is really good. That's one thing I think this movie does is the tension. Like once the smiling, I guess I'll call it
the smiling
is passed to her. Like the tension like does not die for the rest of the movie. Like it's just always this constant like
I would say it builds.
Wire, you know, it does build, but it just doesn't stop. There's not many breaks in the tension.
Yeah.
Like there's a few comedic relief moments, but there's not a lot. Like
towards the second half, like it's like maybe in the first like 25-30 minutes of the movie, there's like a few like small chuckle moments, but after that, it pretty much locks in for the rest of the movie, and it is what it's supposed to be.
Because I feel like the movie wants to make you feel as miserable as Rose does,
and it
just wanting it to end.
I remember my drive home from the theater when I first saw it. It worked. It really it worked. It was like midnight, it was super depressing, and we were all just leaving. Like, okay, see you guys later. I'm driving home alone. I'm like, okay, well, that was depressing.
But after she just stares at Laura for a little bit and freaks the hell out, her fiance walks in and turns the lights on to the kitchen and
What she should have
scares
done.
the absolute ever living shit out of her.
Stay close, stranger. The room awaits you after these messages.
Yeah, it was A-Train. He's a cool guy.
It was A-Train.
I think his name was Kyle, right?
I'm calling him
I
A-Train.
thought it was Trevor.
Oh, maybe
Trevor.
it was Trevor. It was Trevor. And she drops her wine glass. Thank goodness there wasn't that much wine in it. Didn't make a mess.
Because she's like literally like barely covering the bottom of her glass with wine.
Yeah.
And he's here to he like tries to do some comforting.
I mean, he's okay with it at first.
Yeah, but I honestly, in hindsight, looking back, you can already see he's not very emotionally available.
He's uncomfortable with it.
Yes.
He wants he kind of wants his like highly independent girlfriend. That's what he wants. He doesn't want anybody that he has to like
She addresses
care
that.
for.
She addresses that later. Like the slightest thing goes wrong, the slightest inconvenience, something gets the least bit difficult, he kind of just crashes out. And it kind of hints that like that's how he has been in the past. Or maybe she's just like spiraling in that moment later in the movie, but she does like tell him like once shit hits the fan, he does like tend to like completely just lose control of himself. So maybe she was spiraling. Maybe there is truth behind it. Who knows?
Yeah, but they have to go to dinner.
Yeah.
With her sister and
Her husband. Who's just there to be a dope.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
literally there
They're
for
so
comedic
annoying.
relief. Yeah, he was there for comedic relief.
They are so annoying.
Yeah.
They are the
yeah.
worst people to be around.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell which. Oh, we forgot to address the. That was what was at the very top of the movie.
Yeah.
Dead mom.
She saw her mom kill herself. That's all we know at this point.
Yeah.
We saw a glimpse of it, and that was at the beginning of the
She
And in
movie.
this
overdosed right in
conversation, you could tell which daughter was traumatized by the death of their mother and which one didn't witness it.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of them is very entitled.
No, yeah. Straight up stuff like, you should sell that old house. We should sell it. Like, and straight up, you shouldn't work there anymore. You should, not waste your potential. Which the thing is, there's truth to what she says, because she works at an emergency unit that often takes people with no insurance
Right.
and can't afford to pay. So therefore, they don't get paid that well. And so there is like truth, just like, hey, you work this really high stress, high hours job when you are fully qualified to, work somewhere more private with
Better money for your mental
better
health.
hours.
But she says it so shitty.
She says it in the worst way possible.
Yeah, yeah. The whole dinner scene is just
You're wasting your potential.
Yeah,
like, geez.
it just in Rose after watching her patient earlier kill herself, she's just like not even remotely like
She just
focusing
goes,
in.
"Can you guys just shut the fuck up?"
Yeah, she's just like,
and we're all
basically-
like, "Thank you."
Yeah, it's what needed to be said. Like the sister was not being the most compassionate towards her, and just was like. Granted, I think if Rose might have told her what had happened earlier in that day, she might have backed off a little bit. But that also could have validated what her sister was saying, like, "Oh, you need to absolutely get the hell out of there." I feel like there's a reason. She didn't tell her that at dinner, right?
No.
I feel like that's why she maybe didn't tell her, like, because she didn't want to, like, yep, this is, if I told her what was going on, she would maybe back off, or maybe she would double down, like, yeah, you absolutely need to leave.
Right.
Like, pick your poison, I guess.
I think she was just at that point trying not to make a big deal out of it.
Right.
And that was also what it was too. She's like, it's just part of the job. Like, I shouldn't be this like bothered by it.
No, absolutely.
So I'm not really going to talk about it. I'm going to try to like shove it down. And when that doesn't work, that's when she starts to spiral
Out of control. Yep.
And don't forget, she's invited to the little boy's birthday party.
Yes, her nephew's birthday party is
It's
coming
coming up.
Saturday.
It's coming up.
Yes.
You work on Saturdays?
Like it was such an unheard of thing.
I work on Saturday.
But Rose then she goes back into work the next day.
Yeah. She's got a smile mug.
She has a mug with with a little
face on
smiley face on it. And she's walking down the hallway and she walks past Carl's room, and he's
cheesing.
he seems like he's having a good time in there
For not doing nothing. He
is so still.
Yeah, he's not moving.
He's creepy looking.
She's walking through the hallway of her work, and he's just like sitting on the bed, just staring a hole through her with the biggest, creepiest smile on his face. And she has to do like a double take. She comes back and is like, "Hey, it looks like you're doing better today. How are you?" And then he starts repeating like, "She's gonna die. I'm gonna die. We're all gonna die," or something like that.
And then goes, "You're gonna
Then
die. You're gonna die. You're gonna die."
While
Looks her-
looking right at her.
And his voice gets a little bit deeper and a little bit more demonic. And then she runs to the phone and
She just yells, "We've got a patient 515
Yes.
in here.
getting aggressive, basically.
He needs to be restrained."
And then they ran to his room. And then when she turned around, he's basically asleep in bed.
And they come in anyway and still
And like just completely tie him down, sedate him, medicate him, whatever they're going to do. And this guy's like freaking out because, for one, he's clearly got some type of mental illness. And he was just minding his own business. And then he's got 5 people on top of him doing, like, trying to restrain him for basically no reason. And then she's like, "What the hell did I just do that for?"
So her boss makes her take a paid week leave,
Lucky.
which she tries so hard to turn down.
Tries.
which well, I mean, I get you love your job and love helping people, but 10
Just take
like
the
a whole vacation?
just basically take the paid
Oh, like
vacation.
a paid week off.
And
I know
you
it's
need
technically
it.
punitive, but
But you definitely need it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so very clear. You just restrained a patient who didn't need it. You're not helping people. Take your vacation.
you
It's
know,
probably those pink walls. They're making her crazy.
she eventually accepts it. And you know what that means?
Things are gonna get worse.
That means she can go to the birthday, so she goes to buy a train.
Yes.
She buys a little model train from a nice looking train model salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes home and she can't find her cat Mustache.
Hmm.
What happened to Mustache? Mustache was a cute cat.
Well, she's wrapping the present. This whole scene plays out very specifically.
Mm-hmm.
She's wrapping the present, and she goes to get up and get another half ounce of wine, and the security alarm starts going off, and she drops once again another glass with just a teensy bit of wine in it on the floor.
She's just a teensy bit of wine type of gal.
She goes and looks at the front door. The front door is still closed, and then she picks up the phone from the security company because the phone starts ringing, and they're like, "Hey, give us your name and what's the password?" And then they go, she realizes the back door is open, and they say, "Well, are you home alone?" And she goes, "Yeah." And they say, "Are you sure?
Are you sure you're home alone?
Are you sure you're home alone? Are you sure you're home alone? Why don't you look behind you?"
That moment, I was like, oh.
And then she goes to start looking behind her, and then the phone rings again, and there's no phone in her hand.
So she's absolutely tweaking out
She's
at this
tweaking.
point.
They're
damn near off her rocker already.
yeah, absolutely. And that's when she goes to try to feed Mustache, and she can't find Mustache.
Goes outside, does the normal
Yeah.
The
Doesn't
cops do
respond.
show up though,
The
Yes.
cops do show up.
and they're like, I had a bit of an overreaction to this cop. But
he was just doing his job, and James.
They're like, well, we didn't see anything. We didn't find anything. You know, house is all clear. And she was like, well, what about the back door? He's like, well, did you maybe forget to latch it? And I was like, dick.
James was like, what a dick. And I'm like, no, there's no one in the house, no one outside. Like, that's the only logical. Like, I'm
They
sorry.
coulda ran.
The first thing that comes to the cop's mind isn't, oh yeah, you clearly have a demon mimicking your friends and
Well,
loved
no,
ones.
I was thinking maybe like someone did break in, the alarm went off, and they ran. That sounds more realistic.
I think they're thinking, okay, we didn't find anyone around the house. We didn't find any evidence that someone's messed with things. Is there a possibility you left your latch unlocked and that's what opened the door?
Yeah, that's how kind of I took it.
That's how I took it as well.
I will rest my case in the dirt.
Oh goodness.
My note here was she's gonna run out of wine glasses.
I mean, yeah,
She broke like 2 or 3
that seems to be all that. I already forgot his Trevor. That seems to be all that Trevor cares about. He's
This
just
is-
like,
the fine china
He's
getting
like,
broken.
did you drop another wine glass? Like, just
And then it cuts to the next day.
yeah.
It's the last. He's sitting there like comforting her, kind of like getting somewhat standoffish.
Yeah, because he's already starting to get distant about it. He's already kind of like,
And it is
you
important
might
to
be
note,
crazy.
at this point, Rose is kind of like underplayed the whole situation to him, and also didn't like completely come clean about how Laura, the girl at the beginning, killed herself in front of her. She said she died in front of me. She didn't say like she stood up, looked me dead in the eye with an evil grin, and slit her throat open with a shard of like pottery glass. Like she really, really downplayed it to him so he wouldn't worry. So at this point, he's like not too, he's still showing the least, a little bit of compassion, but isn't being the most supportive. He's
Right.
kind of getting standoffish, like, okay, like I'm getting a little worried about you. And honestly, rightfully so. I understand to an extent.
But yeah, so she gets up the next day and goes to see her therapist. And and this is not important, but I swear to goodness the therapist had an upside down cross on her door.
I tried to look, but like the camera angle
but
changed.
it took it away so
Mhm.
fast. My guess is it's not important whatsoever, but I swear.
It could be. It very well could be.
But basically the therapist is just like, well, it's probably some trauma from when you saw your mom die that you
Mhm.
never addressed or took care of. And she's like, no, I'm hallucinating. Can you give me medication
Give me medicine, please.
for the hallucinations? And she's like, no, I want you to start seeing me more often. I'm like, this is actually
Give
not
me
helpful.
money.
Mhm.
And I mean, like, I probably would be saying the same thing as she like pushed meds too, but like when someone's hallucinating, you probably should like take care of the hallucinations first.
I mean, here's the thing too. I know nothing about this, and it's kind of off topic. Maybe it's just like she did address like, okay, past trauma, stress, anxiety,
Little sleep.
lack of sleep. Like from like looking in, it kind of looks like she might have some type of an addiction problem. She's been with her therapist before, and I know they've clearly talked about her mom. Her mom was clearly an addict. So maybe she didn't want to do that because she's like, oh, like I'm connecting the dots. Your mom was an addict and you come here out of nowhere. She didn't make an appointment with her therapist. She just showed up, by the way. That's important.
Oh yeah, that's a good
It's
point.
And then she's just immediately within 10 minutes asking for pills. That's a red flag.
yeah, you're so right about that.
I
actually.
absolutely feel like she's connecting the dots between her and her mom. And it's like, I don't want to give you pills yet. I feel like you're just trying to, get your fix, or
Right.
you're starting to fall into the same pattern your mother did. I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah,
That's kind of how I see it.
that could be it.
And I think that is also another theme in the movie. Maybe not like as stated, but
Addiction or like something with addiction other than
no,
mental
I was
health.
gonna say like I don't know if this is the right term, but generational trauma,
Yeah, no, that's
Um,
right. I'd say.
because several points by several different people, she is compared to her mom, essentially.
Her
Like,
therapist, her sister,
I'm pretty sure Trevor at some point.
Trevor said he did his research on her family at some point to know what he'd be tying his life with.
So, it's so creepy.
He does it in such a Google search kind of way. I read about it.
I read about you guys.
Mental illness, it's genetic sometimes. You're just like your mom, which, oh my God, dude, these are the worst things for you to say.
Yeah, it was. That's a little bit further in the movie, but yeah, he does kind of go there with her and it gets even more shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to jump forward if it's not like spoiler.
Right.
But we're getting there.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
So after this, my notes get a little bit. The movie gets more intense. My notes get a little bit
I'm
less.
trying. What happened after she saw the therapist?
She goes to
We're
the
about
party.
a third of the way through the movie, and
yeah.
I have 3 more notes left out of like 10.
Well, I normally have like 5 pages, and for some reason, just today, I could not write a whole bunch of notes.
Focused.
Yeah,
That happens a lot when we watch these more tension-fueled movies.
I mean, it's a good thing.
Like, especially visual tension, a lot of, I mean,
blink and you miss it.
blink
kind
and
of
you miss
moments.
it. I will say probably more jump scare heavy movies as well, where you're kind of glued to the, because if something's notable happening while in the middle of tension, you start going, you might miss something.
Right.
So like it's hard for me to take notes, and that's why I feel like these episodes are always different. They're always a little bit more scatterbrained, but I think it's okay for a lot of these movies.
Well, right.
Because I think the plot is good in this movie, but I think it's more about the themes
Yeah.
than the plot.
But yeah, I definitely think too, it's just like when we have an extra person here, we also are less just like
Structured.
yes. Not just when we're like having an episode, like when we're sitting in front of the TV, like watching the movie, we're like conversating a little bit and like
I'm sorry, I'm so
talking a little bit.
distracting.
No, it's not your fault. It happens with whoever's here. I didn't have that many notes on the Babadook. I had a lot of notes on Psycho. I had way too many notes on Psycho, but that's a whole different
made
story.
a decision doing that movie so early in
Oh
this podcast
my
life.
goodness.
I feel like if there's a movie that I wish I could revisit
Then revisit
vocally, no. That would be it.
Yeah.
That and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah, I could see us like revisiting.
Oh, we're gonna do Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and that'll give us an opportunity. Okay?
Yeah, because we really we didn't know what we were doing yet, but now we kind of have a flow going.
We have
so.
a formula,
But
a very simple formula.
yeah, it's basically just
Everybody's
sit and
a
talk.
suspect.
Okay. But yeah, so she goes to the child's birthday party, and what I thought was funny is immediately some mother of a child at the party is like, "You're a therapist, right? Can I ask you for some advice?" Like,
And just took Rose off to God knows where to yap her ear off.
If there's any therapists listening, like, please leave a comment. Is this a common occurrence?
Yes.
I feel like if you're a therapist, if people know you are, they're gonna constantly just be like, "Hey,
if you're
can you fix all my problems right now in
I
a
know
quick
someone
10-minute
who
conversation?"
I've had that conversation. You might know who it is. It is extremely common, apparently.
and it's common for doctors just in general. Like when we're places with my dad, immediately like people are like, "Hey, I have this friend who has this weird thing going on. They have headaches, blah blah blah, blah." And he's like constantly having to do all these doctory things. Like it's just something that happens when you're a medical professional. So, but yeah, I had to mention it because I thought it was funny. But you know, party's going. For some reason, there was some like dish that her sister's husband brought out that he got out of the oven too early, but it literally just looked like a whole bunch of toast on a
It looked like
tray.
he was carrying out toast.
I
Yes.
swear it was just
Maybe
toast.
it
was
was
handing out
for
toast
maybe it was
for
for
the
like
party
bruschetta.
It literally looked like loaf bread, sliced bread that maybe had been toasted. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like just toast.
Possibly toasted.
But they sit down to open presents, and she's super excited because we saw her get the kid the train, and he opens the wrapping paper.
We talk
And-
about the sick Nerf product placement first.
Okay.
Was it
Go ahead.
Nerf? Was it Nerf or was
Yeah,
it
it was
just some
Nerf
random?
X shot. Okay. Sorry, I just thought it was really random that there was Nerf product placement in a horror movie.
I honestly didn't
Go
pay
ahead.
attention.
I stole your thunder.
It was very much on, like, very much like, oh, he has to open one present. Nerf.
Or
Nerf.
Nothing.
Or nothing.
Nerf or.
I thought it was
about
just some
to
generic
open up
off-brand.
after.
But he's getting excited because it looks like a train, and then he opens the box and he starts just looking really weird. I'm like, oh my god, what's in the box? I saw her get the
Does he
train.
not
What's in
like
the
trains?
box? Like, I'm so confused. And he pulls out a dead cat.
It was Mustache the cat.
It was Mustache.
She couldn't find the
It
cat.
was
And she,
definitely CGI'd, but it was Mustache.
Yeah, it was a weirdly CG cat.
He looked like rubber.
You know
Like,
who's not a weirdly CG cat? That cat.
this cat.
I think she's off frame. Yeah, I think she's off frame. There's a cat gently off frame. I don't know if you can see her
I've
or
been
not.
petting her. I think they can see her.
You're welcome. But Mustache, he's definitely a CG cat at
Rip.
first. When they pull him out. Do you think maybe the kid they didn't want the kid to have the dead cat?
That's what I'm guessing.
Like,
Because when she holds the dead cat, it's definitely like a fake dead cat.
a puppet or so like a stuffed animal,
Stuffed
something.
cat or something. But
her reaction to finding her dead cat was very real.
yes, she was like,
She immediately like grabbed the cat and was like clutching it. Like,
yeah.
She's a great actor, by
Oh,
the way.
yeah.
We haven't said that. She's an amazing actor.
Oh yeah, she kills it.
in the middle of the movie, when Ashton's looking at the cat, she goes, "Oh, she's a nepo baby." And I was like, "Huh?" I mean, kinda, but she's really good.
The nepo baby doesn't mean not good. It just means your parents helped you get into it.
I know.
That's all
I
that
know.
means. It doesn't mean they're not good.
I know.
I know.
But I think my brain always goes, nepo baby. Oh, not even talented.
Okay.
Anyway, poor Mustache.
Yeah.
Mustache is dead.
And
She
then
runs-
everyone's like screaming at her because why the fuck do you put a dead cat in a child's gift? What the hell?
She's proclaiming her innocence, obviously.
Like, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. It wasn't me.
But it makes me wonder if she did do it. Because that's the thing. You never really get the answer. She claims that the spirit did it.
Oh, she's definitely an unreliable narrator.
Exactly. So my brain is like, did she just kill her cat and put it in the box and not even know? Because it's never revealed to us if she did it or if the entity did actually like go through all that trouble. But we saw her wrapping
Killed the
present
cat and wrapped it up in a box.
I
Yeah.
think she did it.
I think she did it.
She probably
I
did
think
it.
it's implied that she was like possessed during the night and she did it or something like that.
Well, there's plenty of spots in the movie where she has full on experiences that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fully possible that during her whole phone call hallucination, that's what she was actually doing the whole time.
Just killing
Right.
the cat.
Yeah.
I agree.
But as she's freaking out, proclaiming her innocence that she didn't do it, she looks in the corner and that girl who asked her for help earlier is sitting in a chair smiling while everyone else is obviously disturbed / furious.
And she's like, look, it's right there. It's right there. You
Like-
guys can't see. It's right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it jumps up in front of her face and scares her into a glass coffee table. And oh my God, I just feel so bad for her in this scene because she's surrounded by people covered in glass shards
With her
like,
dead cat in her hand.
with her dead cat all cut up. And she just starts scream crying essentially.
Yeah.
Not a good day. not a great day to be Rose.
Nope.
Definitely not.
It's okay. There's plenty of not great days to be Rose ahead.
She goes to the hospital.
Maybe not plenty.
Gets fixed up. Her boss checks in on her, like, what is wrong with, like, what's going on? Are you okay? She's like, I don't know.
Just still downplaying everything because they don't want. At this point, she isn't like convinced she's being haunted yet, or she's like caught between that or like mental illness. She doesn't know if like she's actually hallucinating or if there is something more going on.
I think after the party is when she starts to get.
I think that's where she's more convinced that she's like, yeah, there's something not right. This isn't.
This is when the conversation with Trevor happens in the car,
and she says, "This is what I thought was like kind of ironic because of our last episode." She says this exact same thing as Danny says to Billy. Like, hey, I'm going to tell you something and it's going to sound crazy, but you're going to just have to believe me. And in this instance, the other person doesn't just believe her.
No. In fact, he does. Honestly, here's the thing. Her state of mind at the time and how she's presenting what's going on with her is much different than we didn't get to see Danny actually explain. It just kind of cuts to them in the car and you're like, okay, he believed him. But she, as the movie's been going, like her appearance is changing.
Yeah.
The bags under her eyes are getting really noticeable. Her skin just has a lot less color. Like her lips are like almost
she
like
just
blue.
Stops doing her makeup at some point. She tries to hide it towards the beginning of the movie, or I guess this is about halfway at this point. Where she's like putting concealer on to like hide the bags under her eyes.
Really thick concealer.
Yeah. And then it gets to the point where after that, you don't even see her do makeup anymore. And just
she doesn't even try.
No, because I mean, it's just her hair is like a mess. She's got bags under her eyes. She looks like she's been crying like every minute of every day. That's how bad she looks. So
she's trying to tell Trevor that, you know, she has this, she thinks there's an entity that's following her. So like she's like, he keeps saying, you're talking about ghosts? She's like, no, not ghosts.
But ghosts.
Like a being.
Like an entity.
An entity, a demonic force. And he's just like, okay.
And this is like that gray area where it's like his reaction, understandable, but it shows how selfish and emotionally not there he is.
Because for me, if you were acting like that, you'd already be in a hospital. You'd already be taken care of by medical professionals at this point. But I would have, like, it's better to play along and then get them to someplace safe.
Yeah.
Than to just outright say you're delusional and stupid
you're
and dumb.
Insane.
It's the same as like when you're dealing with a dementia patient. Like, if you tell somebody with dementia over and over again, no, you're wrong. No, that person's dead. They're just getting more and more frustrated, and it causes them stress and makes the dementia worse. Same thing here, where like if someone is having delusions and is in an episode, if you continuously tell them, no, like that's not real, that's not happening, you're crazy, you're causing them more frustration and more stress because what they're seeing and what they're feeling to them is real, that it's making everything worse. So very much didn't really do the right thing here. You should probably, especially to be like, did you know that mental illness is genetic and you're probably fucked up just like your mom? Okay, don't look at me like that.
I was just thinking in my brain, I was like, how homeless would I be if I said any of those things to you? We don't even live together yet and I'd be homeless.
She said fuck around and find out.
I wouldn't say those things.
If you ever said the words just like your mom.
I think she's a nice lady.
We're doing a podcast, guys.
I always get told I'm just like my mom. It's an annoying thing. Every daughter has that problem.
I get told I look like my mom. People don't say I am like my mom, though. But my mom's a nice lady, and that makes me sad that people don't say I'm like my mom.
Anyway.
I was going to say, we are still on a podcast.
No, we're in therapy now.
Oh, okay.
The character never got the therapy she needed, so we're going to give it to each other for fun.
Okay.
Shane, do you have anything you want to get off your chest?
A ton, but I'm not going to do it.
But so she starts like trying to look into everything with the case of Laura.
And how did that make you feel?
And she tries to track down everybody involved. So
I'm sorry. That was just funny.
So this like leads her to the wife of the professor that killed himself in front of Laura. So how Laura ended up with the entity is one of her professors killed himself.
And I don't think we've ever fully specified that's how it's passed from person to person.
Yeah.
If you haven't figured that out, like if you kill yourself in front of someone else, the entity gets passed on to whoever witnessed it.
And I have to say that the process of mental health discovery is very much mirrored in this movie, because the first thing she does before trying to seek help is Google her symptoms and go down the rabbit hole.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
God.
Stay close, stranger. The room awaits you after these messages.
I mean, even when she has
Oh
her,
yeah, she was self-diagnosing herself too.
Yeah.
And even her therapist was like, let's avoid any self-diagnosis. Because, like, that's, like, a very, like, people who have, like, past trauma and anxiety, like, they do that. Like, that's just known. That's just what happens. So, I mean, maybe it is, like, mirroring a lot. What are you doing? What is going on?
I don't know. That's why I'm looking at him
James,
confused.
I made eye contact and then I was like, okay, I guess I'm stuck here.
But yeah, I lost my entire train of thought.
I threw off her groove. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you totally did. But back to the plot, I guess. She
was doing research.
Yeah, so then she found the wife of
There you go.
the professor. So she goes to her house and like asks to like her to tell like his story basically.
She goes in and finds like a bunch of his drawings about what he saw.
One of them is Bendy. One of them is Bendy from Bendy and the Ink Machine. What it just is. It's
It
so
just
weird.
is.
I love
Sorry.
me some crazed drawings of horrors though.
And
Yeah.
that's what, there was a room full of it.
Like the drawings in this room were awesome. It kind of reminded me of the drawings of the beings in Bird Box, which were
Never seen Bird Box.
kind of lame
Never
in
seen Bird
comparison to
Box.
these drawings, but you know.
How did you spend your COVID?
I took a nap one day. I woke up, saw Bird Box trending on every social media. I'm like, what is this? And why am I seeing so many pictures of a Machine Gun Kelly? I never watched it. I want to. Everyone tells me it's a great movie. Never watched it.
It's pretty overrated.
Is it?
It was really, really good when you were locked in a house,
Not doing
and
anything.
you couldn't leave.
We weren't getting many movies during that time, so
You couldn't leave, and so it made you feel like the characters because they also couldn't leave. So then you just felt like
I was just waiting for Clone
You
Wars
were
Season
heard.
7. That's what I waited for in 2020.
oh man,
But-
everyone had their 3 a.m. moment.
Mhm.
But hi, do you want a drink of my seltzer? Is that what you're trying to get? A drink of my Sunny D?
Sunny D, give us free shit.
I mean,
Sunny D, give us free stuff.
this is
Sponsor
not
us.
sponsored right now,
Sponsor
but you
237.
We're
could.
asking you
JumperScape.
to.
But you could actually.
Did you say
because
we're
this is
not
really
asking
good.
you to?
No,
We
we're
are.
asking
I
you
was going to say,
to.
we are directly asking them to.
That I'm demanding.
But we all in this we get told that one of them is the image of his brother who had died in a car accident with him in it. A couple like many years ago, and that's something I want to note. She saw her mother die. Laura had seen her grandfather die. She mentions that she keeps seeing her grandfather who she saw die.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the entity like tracks down people with specific trauma involving like seeing people die.
It definitely
And
targets them.
It targets them intentionally. So I wanted to note that, but I also wanted to note in this lady's house, she has curtains, and they are also the freaking I already forgot the name. The Baker Miller pink. She has Baker Miller pink
it's
curtains
everywhere.
in there. It's got to mean something. It has to mean something.
I'm gonna Google
I ain't gonna lie. When I was a kid, I'm pretty sure I had a puke bucket that was Baker Miller pink.
Like,
I know that's really random.
like I googled it and like pulled up the like color, and I was like, no, that's Baker Miller pink. But what?
I found something.
He found something.
Baker Miller pink, also known as P618, Schaus pink or drunk tank pink, badass name, is a tone of pink which has been observed to temporarily reduce hostile, violent, or aggressive behavior.
Oh, it reduces it.
That's
I heard
why
the opposite.
That's why
it's in the psych ward.
So people don't freak the hell out.
Oh.
The more you know.
Well,
we do a little misinformation.
Well, whoever gave that speech in speech and debate lied to me. They literally had their research opposite.
You know, it might have just been goofy research, and it's like they added Baker Miller pink to this prison full of violent individuals, and they were still violent, so it made them crazy.
Genuinely don't know, or I was lied to. So, well, interesting.
Well, back to square one.
But what'd she do next? Because I don't remember.
She went back. She went on Google and she started realizing, like, just kind of looking at the chain of events.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went to Joel, the guy who interviewed her at the beginning.
That's right.
Which is also her ex-boyfriend.
Her ex-boyfriend.
Oh yeah, he came to the office to try and
Check on
checking
her.
up,
Yeah.
You could tell she was not okay. I think he was genuinely actually
No,
trying
he was
to
being
check on
nice
her.
and she was being standoffish, which kind of understand. But
yeah.
she goes to him and asks for like a favor regarding like police reports about the suicide chain that she's starting to like notice. She's noticing there's a trend. This person was a witness to this suicide. Then they, they kill themselves as well. Then they witness another, and it's a chain. So on and so forth. They get gas station footage of it happening to someone else. He prints off pictures for her, and she uses those pictures and this evidence that Joel gave her to kind of like plead her case. Like, hey, I'm not freaking insane. Like, this has happened to a number of other people. And he ends up calling her back. I forget what she's doing at this point. But he calls her like, hey, like, I don't know what you were onto, but you're right. There's been 20 cases, 19 of 20 cases have ended up in, suicide. And that's when she's like, oh, wait, you said there was like 19 out of 20. Well, who's the one that, who didn't die of suicide?
Mm-hmm.
And that starts a whole nother, like, okay, so someone found out a way to survive this thing.
Yeah.
I figured you guys are going to pick it up from there.
No, I was just listening.
I was trying to help fill up any gaps in memory.
And this is where her fiance calls her therapist and
Yes.
does a terrible version of an intervention here. Really badly done.
Yeah, she comes home and they're both just sitting there like, have a seat, basically. Rose is not having it. She's just basically like,
What the hell is this?
what is this? Get out of my house.
Right.
Told her therapist literally make yourself right at home.
And
then
left.
She storms out at that point. Which again, her fiance's heart was in the right place, just poor execution.
Very poor execution and very little too late.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
To be honest.
I agree. I agree.
Anyway.
Just like trying to recall the last half of this movie is giving me. I'm having a struggle.
Yeah, that's where
her
my notes
therapist
kinda
at some
stopped.
point, a little bit after she does a bunch of investigating with Joel, like gets a bunch of the pictures. She goes home one day, and she's there alone, and I forget what prompted it, but I think she just noticed she noticed her therapist at her front door. I forget. I don't know if she just kind of looked out and saw her therapist there.
No, she just walked up to the front door and
saw her. I didn't know if there was like a sound or did something happen that made her notice, or did she just see her up there?
Pretty much, I think she just saw her up there, if I recall.
Yeah.
But she lets her in, and
they started having like
a conversation.
It's more or less just she states like, I have an obligation to make sure that you're not a danger to yourself or anyone else. So I have to come in. She's like, convince me that you're not a danger to anybody. Like yourself, loved ones, coworkers, anybody.
Oh wait, that happens after they visit the 19th, the 20th person.
After?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's after.
We can backtrack. We go ahead.
Because there's a reason I find this important.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to visit because there's one guy who survived the chain, and they go to visit the prison where he's at, and he basically just says like the only way you can break the chain is by killing someone else and having someone witness it, and so the trauma can pass to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this because she has false pretenses. She's saying a patient of mine is experiencing this. What would she have to do?
And then the guy's like, you have to, like, unfortunately, you have to kill someone and make it like as traumatic as possible. Like, you have to literally make a mess is what he said.
And then she blurts out, I'm not killing anybody.
I'm not fucking killing somebody.
And he freaks out.
Like,
he was like, you brought it here?
Yeah, get the hell away from me. And he like goes absolutely fucking insane.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I understand. I get it.
It kind of shows like both routes that she could take.
Both suck.
Both are
You're
not
pretty
good.
much
Both
you're pretty
terrible.
much screwed.
And so it's like kind of puts this, what would you do? And me, I wouldn't kill anybody. Like, if I'm going to have to spend the rest of my life in prison just to be basically horrified for the rest of your life, like, it's like, no wonder he's the only one who took that route.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's when she comes home and the therapist is there. And the reason I brought it up is because when she says, I need to make sure you're not a danger to yourself or others, it holds more weight.
Right.
Because now you know she isn't just a danger to herself.
Now
she is also a
considering-
danger to other people.
She's considering, like, this is what I might have to do. And don't forget, before her therapist got to the door, she was reaching for a knife.
Yes.
And she was home alone. So it was heavily implied that she was probably just going to...
off herself.
Exactly. And like, at that point, like, her fiance, Trevor, would probably come home, find the body. Then I guess, I don't know. Cause
I think they have to witness it.
he didn't
I think
see
they have
it.
to
The
witness
action.
it.
So, I mean, maybe that would just end the chain, but I mean, yeah, man. That's
Really
kind of
rough.
wild. Yeah.
But the therapist comes in and like sits her down and starts like basically doing like a check-in therapist session. And then the phone rings.
And I knew exactly when the phone rang. I was like, uh-oh.
I didn't do a good job at hiding. I started like smirking and giggling as well because I knew what was coming.
And she goes to pick up the phone and it's the therapist asking how she's doing. And then she, really horrified, looks up at the therapist sitting in front of her. And the therapist just starts to smile.
Really slowly.
Really slowly. And she doesn't know how to do the thing where you keep your eyes open when you smile. So it's not quite as effective as it is for everybody
Because
else.
she wasn't staring into her freaking soul.
The smile itself isn't, but I say the tension kind of makes it work.
The moment
The
itself.
soundtrack and the tension definitely help it along for sure.
And I think this is the first time we hear the entity speak.
I mean, you could kind of get a hint of it through what's his name? The guy on the
Carl.
side. Yeah, you could hear like a little when it's like, you're gonna die, you could hear it in his voice.
But speaking directly to her,
Mhm.
like intelligently.
Yes.
Because it starts backing her up down the stairs and the entity just says, like, your time is running up.
Yeah, something like that.
Your
Like,
time's coming up. I think
something like that. Yeah.
Basically, like,
You're fucked.
it's almost over. Like,
Yeah.
GGWs.
GDW's in the chat.
But this is what prompts her to drive to the hospital. Not to get treatment,
When did she go to her sister's house?
Oh, we missed that. Because that happened.
It was while she was getting evidence, and she was going to show like a bunch of these suicide victims the photos to her sister. It was after. I'm pretty sure it was after the fight she had with her fiance and the therapist when it was like a shitty intervention.
Yeah.
She went and she's like, okay, I'm going to go try to plead my case to my sister now. And she went to her sister's house, and the husband answered the door and was like, you're not welcome here. You literally traumatized our kid. Your sister doesn't want to talk to you, period. She goes outside to talk to Rose, and she has all these like police like classified documents and like brutal photos of like these.
And her sister's like, what the fuck? I don't want to look at those.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of pictures of the people that have killed themselves due to this demon. And she's like, why do you have these? You're off your rocker. You look just like mom did, or sounding just like mom did before you died.
And she goes, how would you know what mom sounded like?
So
you weren't there.
Her sister left to get away from her mom, which, I mean, it's a shit situation.
It's a very common sibling dynamic in horror movies.
It's a very common sibling dynamic
in real life.
in real life with siblings that experience.
It's a double-edged sword. There's like no winner in that situation, because like at the same, like you don't want to be in a toxic environment, but it also sucks that you have to leave your younger or older sibling in, you know, a shitty situation with a toxic parent.
Yeah, the amount of TikToks I see that are like people being like, I got out, but she didn't.
No, I've seen those.
Every day I'm mad at myself because I can't save her.
Yeah. No, I've seen a good handful as well.
It's a very common thing that happens to children in abusive homes.
And after she has a conversation with her sister, she runs out to her car again. She's just sitting there like, well, shit, no one believes me. I'm on my own. Then in the background, you can see her sister walking out to her car, goes up to the window, knocks on the window, and I don't even know how to describe what the hell happens. Like
her head fucking pendulums.
It's like a bobblehead that just completely went off its spring and went like down.
And somehow I missed whatever trailer or whatever it was that this was in, because the like two of them are giggling like little schoolgirls. I'm like, what?
Well, Shane starts giggling, and I'm like, oh, it's this scene, because I knew it from the trailer, and I don't think I giggled that much.
No, you both started giggling like little schoolgirls, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? And it made them giggle harder. I was like, James goes, it was in a trailer. I was like,
it was in one of the first trailers for the movie. Her head basically just like,
well, no, Shane goes, do you know? And I was like, yeah, it was in a trailer.
Yeah. I didn't want to like give it away for her in case she didn't.
I didn't.
So I was trying to be ominous about it.
Did you know? Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man.
Who lives on Drury Lane?
You switched it.
Oh, did I? Oh no, I'm sorry.
I think so. Oh no, wait. Yeah, wait, yeah.
Whoopsie. Anyway,
wait, I don't know.
So yeah, we missed that scare.
We had to backtrack on that. So now we're at the point
where she goes to the hospital.
Yes, but not to get help, but because she's considering murdering somebody so she can pass this along.
And of course it's Carl.
It's good old Carl.
Carl.
She walks into Carl's room all like, hey, because he's freaking the hell out.
Then she's like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, uh-oh.
And then her boss walks in and is like, what are you doing? And then she starts stabbing Carl.
She stabbed him. She walked up to him and stabbed him 37 times in the chest.
Yeah.
Carl! That kills
that
people.
Works way too well.
Except Carl's the one getting stabbed, so.
And then she turns around. Her boss is like, instead of stopping her, is just kind of yelling. And then he starts peeling his face off.
Yeah. And when she stabbed him, she stabbed a smiley face.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was a smiley face in his chest. And he instead of like reacting like a normal person would,
starts laughing.
He looks her dead in the eye and like starts laughing at her.
I thought the thing is that the whole scene was just very disturbing. And I didn't fall for it. I knew it was probably not real, obviously.
Yeah,
but
and the whole time it's like, what? There's something, this ain't happening.
Well, because part of what sells it a little bit is she's not good at stabbing.
Yeah.
Like,
darn.
No, I mean, like, it's kind of, that's what makes it scarier. That's what, like, because like she's like clearly like she's like barely sticking it into the guy. but you kind of notice he's not really reacting the way like someone should, and it derails from there, obviously.
Yeah.
But she wakes up, and that's when the knock happens, the knock on the window gag.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of car window scares in this movie, I guess. But her boss is basically like, "Are you okay? Something wrong? Why are you here?
Are you seeing like a professional for help?"
And
he's like, "Stay here. Like we're gonna help you. Like stay here."
But then he spots the knife.
He noticed that she actually did bring the knife with her in the car, so she probably did go there with bad intentions, planning on doing something. And she woke up after the stream like, I can't do that. And her boss sees the knife, and presumably he's gonna call someone to like come and like sedate her and get her admitted so she can have help.
Yeah.
But she skirts off before that can happen.
Yeah.
And she calls Joel, and
saying she's just got to fight it.
Yeah,
like,
she's got to
just can't-
confront it.
Yeah, she's like, I can't keep running.
And basically, her idea is very sound. It's like, it can't have what it wants if I'm never around people.
Right.
So her plan is basically just to go off by herself forever. And he points out, he's like, you can't just be on your own forever.
She hangs up on him.
And she hangs up on him, which, oh, Joel. Because he seems like he believes, obviously, at this point.
Right.
Because I think when you actually like try to listen to her and you look at the evidence,
I mean,
there's
no other-
obviously something
is
here. Like,
yeah, there's something not right.
And she goes where else but her old house,
Where like she watched her mom die and like had all of her childhood trauma there. That's where she goes to be alone. And like it's symbolic. I kind of looked at it as symbolic, as confronting your inner demons, like confronting your trauma.
There was definitely no way they were selling that house, though.
No. It was
they could sell the land
a
under the house.
shithole.
But,
The house was like
the house itself. No.
no upkeep on it. Just crappy. But that's where she ends up to like go and confront whatever the hell this thing is
For her final boss battle.
basically.
And it. So she basically, if you watch Dr. Sleep, it's kind of similar to when they get to the Overlook.
Yeah.
She goes in basically to wake up the house,
Yeah.
but obviously it's not the house that's haunted, it's her.
Right.
But she's walking around revisiting old memories, and she eventually has to go into her mom's room. And as she walks up to it, this transition where it just kind of cuts to the other side of the door and it opens, and you see the full memory. Her mom wakes up and is like, "Hey baby, I made a mistake. I need you to call for help."
It was the moment she realized her mom was overdosing, and there's like pills all over the place, like bottles of alcohol. Like that's the moment, like in that time. And I don't know if it's revealed earlier, but it was in that moment. I think if I'm wrong, just tell me, but I'm pretty sure that's when we found out like she did not call for help.
Yes.
Yeah.
She let her mom.
We only saw her mom lying in her own puke.
Right. Yeah.
And her being scared.
She basically did not. She saw her mom dying in the bed. She did not call for help. She kind of just.
Her mom asked her, "Please call for help," and she was like, she ran away.
Yep.
She was scared.
She ran off. Yeah.
So that's what furthers her trauma is her guilt.
Guilt. Yeah.
Because who knows? Who knows? It might have been too late anyway.
Right.
But in her brain,
I mean,
she killed her mom.
I mean, at first
she could have saved her, and she didn't.
No, and that's another thing too. It's just like how shitty like of a mom she was to her, and like how like the things that she caused in the theater. When I first saw it, I didn't put up. I'm like, maybe she didn't call anyone on purpose. Maybe like that deep, like as a kid, maybe that's what she wanted to happen, and over time, maybe she regrets it. But maybe she's like, oh, I'll feel better. Like she didn't give me a childhood. She gave me a shitty life, trauma. Like I'm just gonna let that happen. Maybe that could very well not be what it was, but I'm not.
I think it's probably a combination of things. I think that's part of it.
No, I do too.
I think it's mainly fear.
Just panic. Like I don't know what to do. See ya. Like I'm getting out.
Right.
And then like when they kind of get out of that flashback, her mom, quote unquote, is in the room waiting for. It's clearly the demon, like trying to guilt trip the ever living shit and take care of her or take advantage of her trauma, saying it's your fault. Why didn't you call anybody?
Right.
And that's when Rose is like, it wasn't my fault. Like you did this. Like I did everything.
I
like,
was afraid of you. You were a monster.
And that line also is kind of what made me think she kind of just didn't call for help on purpose because of how she viewed her mom as a kid.
But she also let go of that resentment as well.
There's layers.
She was like,
to
but
it.
you needed help.
There's a lot of layers to it. There's a ton.
And but then she also says, and this isn't real.
She acknowledges it isn't real, which kind of like
just
shows
shuts the door.
She's like separating herself from that moment and from her trauma, so she thinks she's fighting it. And I guess in a way at that time she was.
The demon was not very happy to hear this.
No, the demon transformed to something completely ugly and, you know, like opened the door and started walking down the hallway towards her.
Anyone listening at home has seen Barbarian, she kind of looks like, you know what I'm talking about.
It's really well done.
Oh yeah. It's
the prosthetics on the face are immaculate.
Nightmarish, elongated, smiling version of her mom, essentially.
Yeah.
And she like chases her out, like tackles her, starts choking her, but Rose gets the upper hand by basically taking, like, metaphorically taking the power, saying, she basically says, I'm not locked in here with you.
You're locked in here
with me. Like,
and smacked her in the head with smacked the demon in the head with a lantern.
And it caught on fire.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
The plan, and again, more symbolism. She burned down her childhood house, therefore, like, getting over or taking the step to get over her trauma, thinking that, you know, she's won. She walks out of the house as it's collapsing on fire with the demon on fire inside as well. Then she kind of just gets in her car, drives off, and then she goes to Joel's apartment.
And she goes upstairs into his apartment. And she's like, can I just stay here for a while? Like,
she wants to be comforted.
Can you just stay with me while I sleep?
And then he's like, yeah, I'll stay. I'll stay with you forever. And you're like, oh.
When I tell you, like, there was an audible, like, gasp in the theater.
I knew it wasn't real.
Everyone was
it
was just like, oh shit. Everyone's just like, oh shit.
Like, I knew.
Well, I mean,
like,
you knew there was a twist at the end. Like, at that point, what else could the twist be?
Even then, I was like, it
was too easy.
It was way too easy. Like, there had to be an actual price to pay.
Right.
To get rid of this thing, and she didn't pay any price.
And she runs out of the apartment,
and she's back at the childhood house.
Yeah,
she's completely intact.
Not burnt down in the slightest.
No, she never left.
And then, unfortunately, Joel pulls up for real, and he's like,
which is exactly what
Rose. Like,
when she's like, no, get the hell away, because like that's how it spread. That's like everything was falling into place for this demon. Like it basically knew. It was always like one step ahead of her.
I wonder if when she was hallucinating all that stuff, it had her call him.
Because I looked.
Because she told him.
Else?
How did he figure out where she was? She told him not to look for her.
In the car.
Could have tracked the location. I don't know. He's a cop. I'm sure
that's true.
Like
he probably put two and two together. He probably knew where the house was.
Exactly.
But I think like
they did date before as well. I'm sure they were there at some point, or she talked about it, or showed him the place. Like,
right. But like I think about how much length she went to like be somewhere that no one could get to her, and like I think about how much this entity wants to spread, and it feels like that's something it would do.
No, for sure, it does.
Like it would call him and bring him there. Because what I was expecting, honestly, when the end of the like defeating it scene happened and we saw the CGI burning thing that looked like CGI that they reused from The Mummy, is I thought she was going to walk outside and there was going to be another car pulled up and she actually just killed somebody.
That would have been quite the twist.
Yeah.
but she locks herself inside. And the scary mom Animorph is still in there.
Yeah.
Animorph.
I realized what it reminded me of. Do you guys remember the Momo challenge?
Yeah.
Stay close, stranger. The room awaits you after these messages.
Yeah.
James does not remember.
I remember Momo, but I don't know what the Momo challenge was.
Well, it was that you were like supposed to stare at this or something.
Yeah, I remember that thing.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I remember that thing. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what it reminds me of, the Momo challenge.
but this is why I
basically
knew
the
the
end
ending
of
of
the
the movie. This is why I knew the ending of the movie, because I saw a picture of what happens next, and I was like, "What is that from? Oh my god!" And I looked up the scene because I wanted to see that.
Like,
The
I wanna see
prosthetics here are so good.
It goes like,
I was gonna say that
it
whole
rips off its face, and it's just this. I don't know. It's almost indescribable. It's this like
It's got-
nightmarish,
it's a
fleshy
demon or something.
smile face monster.
Yeah, and it's got like 3 jaws, basically.
It kind of has the same silhouette of like a xenomorph made out of like flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And so it like grabs her mouth and starts opening it up,
Like elongating it.
and then crawls inside.
Basically possessing her.
But then Joel gets the door open and he's looking around and he pans his flashlight over and she's facing away from him holding a bucket of gasoline over her head,
Mhm.
or kerosene or some flammable liquid.
Yeah.
And she turns around and she has the smile.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can figure out what happens next. She self-immolates,
Mm-hmm.
and you see her reflection in his eye as
Poor
he's
Joel.
being currently traumatized. So he's next.
And
What
then it
happens next, we'll find out in Smile 2.
Maybe. Maybe. We might not find.
We might.
From what I saw in the trailer, I don't know. I'd be shocked if we find. I think they're gonna leave the ending of that. I think like they're just like, yep.
If I had
It's
to
just gonna be a never-ending
theorize,
cycle.
if I had to theorize, she's going to go down the rabbit hole. She's going to find out Joel is still alive because he killed someone to get out of it.
Yeah. Because
Like
he
in-
can more easily than she could because he's a cop.
Right, and so you think in Smile 2, like he'll be the person that they visit
Yes.
in prison. Like, how did you survive? Oh, someone once told me that we had to kill somebody.
Maybe not even in prison. Maybe just in his house.
Maybe
Yeah.
he just got out of like I shot
Like he got out of it.
staged a violent crime. He's like it was self defense.
He also had more time
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because he already had
He's
it
already
all
head of the
figured
curve.
out.
Yeah.
and like he just like keeps a level head and is just like, okay, I gotta just gets on a call the next day, does what he has to, or maybe he's not in Smile 2 at all. Who knows?
So how do we think we actually could defeat the Smile entity?
I feel like there is only 2 ways. And
The
they're shown in
two
the
ways
movie.
that they revealed in the movie.
I don't
That's-
see
Well,
a
like,
crack.
Defeat it. Like get rid of it. I
Oh.
think if you go all the way out into the woods all alone and you kill yourself of your own volition, that it
God.
dies with you.
Well, that's all. I mean, yes, but I mean, I get. Are you really defeating it if you're killing yourself though? It's like the way I look at it is like getting rid of it while sustaining your own life.
Well,
Like,
because
that's how I look at it. As
the
defeating
prisoner that we met described it as outbreaks. So I'm sure this happens, and then the entity probably finds a way to latch itself to someone else
He did-
and
well,
start the
it-
cycle over.
Here's the thing: it is confirmed. It is a demonic entity.
yeah.
It isn't just like a monster. It is like you want to talk like demons, God, hell, like all that kind of stuff. That all ties in.
So they should have just called a fucking priest.
I mean, if you want to try.
So does that mean I should just like call in the Warrens? Like
there's just
learn its name and then I control it? Like is that what we have to do here?
I looked to see if it had like like an actual name.
It doesn't.
No, it's called like the monstrosity or it's called the smile demon.
They
one or
like
the other.
they called it like things when they were making it, but they purposely didn't call it like it
I think
doesn't
it's
have a
meant
name.
to be vague.
like what is it? They've just confirmed it is a demon. It is a demonic entity.
The only thing we do know is that it does come in spurts, not necessarily a constant chain. The chain gets broken and there's different outbreaks of it.
But when he said the chain gets broken, he just meant the suicide chain. He broke the suicide chain, but he still passed the entity
on to somebody
still.
Yeah, but he said when he was researching,
the chain.
like he said when he was researching, he found that a while ago there was an outbreak in Brazil.
But he literally said that it's still like. When he said it broke, some guy broke the chain, and that's how he figured out how to do it. It still said that it passed the entity to somebody else. It doesn't really break the chain.
I was just theorizing.
It still got passed to another person. That didn't. It just I mean you lived, but you're traumatized and in prison the rest of your life.
Right.
If you got caught, if you killed someone and you got caught.
Yeah, and there's still somebody that has
it.
Has it.
But I was just saying I think it is possible. But I think it's probably happened before where the person died before they could fulfill what the smile demon wanted them to do.
And that's the thing, too. It lives off of trauma. So, I mean, for all you know, it could just randomly attach to someone who has a shit ton of trauma and start a new chain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't think it's defeatable. I think it's more like a force of nature. And it's always going to be there.
So that's Smile.
Yeah.
That's Smile.
That's Smile.
Lollipop.
Lollipop. It played Lollipop at the credits.
So I think we have enough time to do a couple Q&As.
Yay, I'm so excited. We haven't done Q&A in a minute.
If you want to hop in the Q&A, you go to discord.gg/JumperScape and you can talk and do Q&As and stuff, and it's fun. Bear says, if you had a deserted island list of horror movies, what would they be? Like you're on a deserted island and you can only bring, we'll say 3 movies.
3 movies?
3 horror movies.
I already have like 2 out of the 3. If you guys want to think about it, I can go.
Go ahead.
Unless you don't want me to answer.
I want you to answer.
No, we want you to never speak. We invited you on the show to not say anything.
Yeah, Q&A. You don't get to answer though because that's not how this works.
The original Halloween, The Exorcist. The third one is what's stumping me. If you guys want to go, I'll have the third one. The first 2 were like no brainers. The third one.
Third one's the hard one because I'm in the same boat. Basically.
I'm also struggling, but I think I have answers.
Go for it. Maybe I'll come up with a third one while you answer.
Well, The Shining's on there.
That's a good one, but I don't know if I'm attached to it like that.
Suspiria is, we'll cover it eventually, but it's my favorite horror movie.
I don't think I've seen that.
And then the third slot is the hard. It is the hard one.
It is hard. It's
because I kind of want to go maybe a little lighter and pick like Scream, like because
that'd be fun.
I think it's Scream. I think it's got to be Scream.
That's a good third.
That's a good idea.
It was really tough because The Exorcist and Halloween are also right there for me, but it's Scream. Yeah,
I'm actually shocked you take that over The Exorcist or Halloween, especially Halloween.
I think, like I said, for the purpose of the question, I have my 2 goats and one to lighten up the mood and be a bit more of a fun movie.
Right. I think I would go for The Exorcist, Dr. Sleep.
I have kind of a hot take for my third one.
I'm trying to think of a third one.
It's just like I have a slasher, I have a paranormal. I kind of want to go psychological. James, give me a few psychological horrors.
The Babadook, The Lighthouse, this movie is
It.
Oh,
yes.
That's a good pick.
Number 3 is probably it.
It is also going to be my number 3.
I want to say the original, but Chapter 1 was really, really, really good.
I basically hadn't watched
Chapter 1.
I basically hadn't watched horror until I watched it. Chapter 1. It's kind of perfect. 2 Stephen Kings in my lineup. Is that shocking?
No.
I was gonna say my hot take. I wanted to kind of stray away because I wanted to go like slasher, psychological, and paranormal. I had Exorcist, Halloween.
It's hard.
It is good. My hot take was gonna be The Conjuring. The first Conjuring movie.
I thought about The Conjuring.
The first Conjuring movie was amazing. I love the first Conjuring movie so much.
I can't wait to cover it because I need to see it again. The first time I watched it, I was so scared.
Oh no, the first Conjuring movie
was fun.
Absolutely amazing.
Like, ask him. I was so scared.
It was fun until the end. Then I was actually I was a little concerned.
I was like freaking out.
Honorable mention: A Haunting in Connecticut. It's a little dated. There's some there's some weird CGI, but I really like A Haunting in Connecticut. It's my list. Fuck you, James.
I'm sorry.
Said, all right, go ahead. Give me. What was your third?
I said Scream.
How's that feel? I like Scream. I just did it to be an ass because you did it to me.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just messing with you. So, Exorcist, Halloween, and It.
I can be a little opinionated. I'm sorry. I try.
It's okay. What was your third?
The next one.
It was It. I stole yours.
No, is that what you were going with?
I regret arbitrarily picking 3 movies because that was actually
hard. If you gave me 5, it would have been. I mean, that's good. You want it to be hard.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You want it to be difficult.
Axe wants to know who is the spookiest spooky guy. I'm assuming that the question is like spookiest horror movie character.
Reagan. Reagan.
That's a good pick.
Possessed Reagan.
Reagan is a good pick.
Or if I want to get like, I want to say the original Dracula, the original Nosferatu.
Oh, Nosferatu.
The one like the
I was
one
thinking
that,
of Bela Lugosi.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was like
Children
the original
of the night.
The original Dracula. Because like, have you seen
Nosferatu?
Have you seen it? It's horrifying. He's creepy. He's so fucking creepy.
I mean, I was mainly traumatized by Nosferatu via SpongeBob. Nosferatu.
Who was turning off the lights?
Who is the spookiest spooky guy? It's hard.
It's very difficult.
It's a hard question because a lot of them that could be an answer have been pounded into the ground where they're not scary anymore. That's you, Michael Myers.
Yeah. I mean, he's still. I mean,
he is still scary.
Oh yeah.
I've seen Busta Rhymes beat him up. So
that's rough.
Yeah.
Well, if we're being like goofy with the term spooky, Ghostface. If we're thinking like spooky,
that's a good answer. And
spooky.
Also, some of his lines on the phone can be really actually terrifying.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Like, I think of that, and I still think one of the most like chills moment in a movie is in the first movie when he's in the opening scene when the pin drops and he's talking kind of casually to Casey Becker on the phone, and then he just goes, and it's just like, because I want to know who I'm looking at.
Ugh.
That
yeah.
Ooh.
It's yeah. He gets good. He's a good spook.
But Ghostface is more of a personality. He's not a character.
Right.
He's probably got the most colorful personality. Him or Freddy Krueger.
Every ghost face. I love how every Ghostface has like. I'm sorry to talk about Scream so much all of a sudden, but
it's because we watched Scream 5.
Yeah, every Ghostface does kind of have a unique personality. Like it's hidden, and the voice. I feel so bad. I love this voice actor, and I'm blanking on his name. He does a great job of like each movie kind of having a different edge to Ghostface. But for the most part, it's like Ghostface is his own character, and then after the killers are revealed, they're their own character. But oh man, did you answer?
Ghostface was my answer.
Okay, I didn't know if that was
ranting about.
I didn't know if
I don't have like a spooky, like a real one. I'm not gonna lie.
This is a hard question. I'm just gonna go with. You know what? I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna say the Gemini Killer in Exorcist 3, who's played by 2 people.
I'm a fan.
He's played by Brad Dourif and oh no.
Not bringing an Exorcist sequel into this.
He's
the third.
Who's the actor's name for Damien
that.
Again? I'm struggling.
What?
For Damien?
Yeah. What was the actor's name? I'm struggling.
Oh God.
I knew his name.
I'm just gonna save everyone the trouble.
Because he's played by Brad Dourif and he's played by him. We have to watch that movie. You'll love it.
I know. That's the one
Jason
that's
Miller.
Yeah, Jason Miller.
That's the one that goes back in time. No? My dad was telling me about one that's about father why am I losing
Father
his name?
Karras?
Yeah,
Damien
Karras
Karras.
from before.
No.
Oh.
I think in Exorcist 2 there's some stuff with the other father.
There's like
When he was
a
young.
scene. My dad was talking about like a war or something.
A war? Maybe I'm not remembering Exorcist 3 good enough. I remember that performance from John Miller specifically and Brad Dourif. They both did a
Maybe
great job.
it was just because it was the same.
Every time we
actor?
went into their prison cell, I was like tense. Like, so that's all I remember.
I don't know then.
Do you think you'll cover the new Hellraiser or the original? Follow-up question. Have you considered writing a radio drama horror as a spin-off to the show? JumperScape already has one with Tarkov. Well, I do plan on covering at least the original Hellraiser.
Yeah.
I don't know about sequels because that is a mess.
Let's just leave it in the box.
Yeah. As for maybe a possible like radio drama horror, I would love to.
I would love to do that.
That'd be awesome. I just need to find the time to write it and also probably find the talent because I've never written anything like that.
we could figure it out together. We are, in fact, both in school right now, so we're a little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I think that's why our
time
notes
for something like that.
were
Maybe
kind of
we can look
strained.
at it next summer.
Yeah.
Maybe like we'll look at it. You'll not hear anything about it if it's even a possibility for at least like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, not for a while.
Yeah, but that is something I have thought of.
I think it'd be fun.
But I think it'd be and we have the resources here at JumperScape to make it happen.
Correct.
King Hammerbush wants to know if I do or do not feel bonita.
Do you feel bonita?
I don't know if I feel very bonita today.
It's probably because that last lecture it's not the last lecture for you. The last lecture I had to listen to was actually like watching paint dry. It was so bad.
Yeah.
No, there is not another section of the class that I can take. I'm in misery.
Kid Puncher 2006 would like to know, what is your worst cinema experience like at a theater?
Oh, easy.
Are you going to talk about Believer?
No.
I think he means like with other people
Yeah.
or like.
I actually did not dislike Exorcist Believer. I didn't love it, but I didn't dislike it. But in terms of like my worst theater experience, it was probably when we saw the new Puss in Boots movie last summer. There was
my
this
God,
lady who
I
came in with
forgot.
about 7 or 8 kids and just could not get them under control. They were screaming, running around. She was like spanking them and smacking them, and they were like screaming. And I'm like,
It was really bad.
I'm like, where is your father to get them to shut up?
Jesus.
It was bad. I was about to like go down and like tell someone like, can you get these people to shut up? Like the movie, amazing, 10 out of 10, but by far the worst theater experience I've ever had. I know it's pretty close up there for you. It might be the same.
Yeah, that's the thing. I forgot about that. Now you reminded me. I'm like, you stole my answer.
No, just we were both there.
Because that is probably what
use it. We were
but
both there.
I had another one in mind, so I'll say that because that's probably worse.
Okay, let's hear
But
it.
there was one time when I was a kid where this like, I don't know, teenager, college age guy was talking really loudly, and my dad like turns around and asks him to be quiet, and then he just like calls my dad old and tells him to shut the fuck up, like. And then my dad gets up and they start arguing and yelling, and then we left, and I didn't get to see the movie.
Oh,
I
goodness.
hope you guys at least got your money back.
No, we did. He marched to the desk and demanded our money back. And he said, "There's this dickhead in there," like pointed, like described him and stuff. And then they went
probably
in.
kicked him out.
They probably did. But I just was like,
What movie?
I don't remember. I was a kid.
Oh,
I probably saw it later. I think it might have been National Treasure. But that was my worst theater experience. Not because honestly, it was mainly because of secondhand like
Embarrassment.
I'm like, I want to get out of here. Let's just not do this. Can we just leave? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't say those things, but I was thinking them.
I'm sure there's been a lot of random times I've been sat behind like kids who won't shut up or something. I'm sure I'm somebody else's worst theater experience though. The other night, you text me. You're like, do you want to know what the cutest thing about you is? How you laugh out loud in movie theaters.
I meant it.
Sorry, the correct wording was how you cackle out loud in movie theaters.
He's been to a movie with you. He knows.
That's why I'm nodding my head. Yes, it is a very real thing.
I'm not saying that it doesn't happen.
Okay, I was gonna say because it does.
I'm just saying it's fucking embarrassing for that to be the cutest thing about me.
I forget what movie we saw.
Why is dragging me on air? This is
You're sandbagging me.
I literally read that and was like, yeah, this is cute, but I'm embarrassed. I am embarrassed right now. I just laugh. No one can get mad at you for laughing at a movie. Okay? It's appropriately timed, isn't it?
Next question, James.
Yeah. I mean, it's usually at jokes.
Yeah, it is.
No, that was the last question.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So thank you so much for listening. If you would like to connect, you go to discord.gg/JumperScape and you can talk to us. Or, if you feel like we do a good job and you want to get cool things, you can go to patreon.com/JumperScape. Thank you for listening and go watch Smile on wherever it's available streaming. Paramount Plus.
Wherever it's
Well, it might be somewhere else.
Paramount Plus.
It might be somewhere else in like 2 years. I know it's a Paramount movie, but you never know.
It'll be on Disney Plus somehow.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us this evening, stranger. If you enjoyed your time with us, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/JumperScape or join the community at discord.gg/JumperScape. We thank you for your listenership and hope you enjoyed.